Criteria for selecting a computer system. The task of determining a suitable computer system for an individual or organization is not easy. A good computer system must meet all the requirements of the user. Therefore, before selecting the computer system to implement, it is advisable to do an analysis of all the requirements necessary in order to avoid acquiring a system that may disappoint the users. Requirements analysis for selecting a computer system should cover the following. 1. Identifying all user requirements. The first step in selection understands the user's requirements within the framework of the organization's objectives and the environment in which the system is being installed. 2. Evaluating hardware requirements that will meet the user's needs. Some factors considered when selecting computer hardware are a. Processor speed. The processing power and speed of a computer mainly depends on the processor speed. A good computer must have high processor speed. B. Memory capacity. Although a computer may have a very fast processor, it may not perform as expected if it has low memory capacity as expected. Because of the current multimedia-driven applications, a good computer should have sufficient memory to handle heavy applications that require a lot of memory space in order to run. A computer with at least 128 MB of RAM is recommended for most contemporary applications. RAM is packaged as either dual inline memory module, DIMM, or single inline memory module, SIMM. Therefore, before one buys a memory module for the computer, the following factors have to be considered. B.1. The type of module supported by the computer's motherboard. B.2. Does the motherboard have an empty memory slot? B.3. Will the module work well be compatible with the other existing modules on the motherboard? B.4. What is the capacity of the module? C. Warranty. A warranty is an agreement between the buyer and the seller that spells out terms and conditions of after selling a product in case of failure or malfunction. The most important consideration to make is whether the seller is ready to actually provide after-sales services. On top of the actual cost of the item, most manufacturers and suppliers include a certain percentage charge to cover the warranty. A good warranty should cover the following points. C.1. Scope of cover, for example 6 months, 1 year, etc. C.2. Call-out response and liability agreement. For example, how long should the supplier take to repair a fault or replace the product, and if he/she delays, who bears the cost? C.3. Preventive maintenance, for example, regularity of service, at intervals, etc. D. Cost. The cost of a computer system depends on D.1. Its processing capability. D.2. Whether it is branded or a clone. Branded computers are more expensive than their equivalent clones. This is because of their reliability and good after-sale services. D.3. Its size. Portable computers are more expensive than their desktop equivalents, because of the superior technology involved in manufacturing smaller components, without losing performance abilities. It is important to do a market survey from magazines, newspapers, and electronic media or visit a number of vendors, to compare prices before purchasing a computer. Computer information and technology exhibitions also enlighten a buyer on current trends and costs. E. Upgradability and compatibility. When buying a computer, the best option would be to get one that can easily be upgraded to accommodate emergent technologies. For example, older computers cannot support large hard disks available in the market today, hence, difficulty in upgrading them because smaller hard disks are no longer in circulation. F. Portability. The size of electronic devices including computers has become a major consideration, because smaller devices enhance mobility. G. User needs. When selecting computer hardware, consider the unique needs of the user. For example, if the users have special disability like inability to use their hands, consider buying input devices that capture data through voice input. The user needs also determine the type of data that will be processed, hence, the choice of the type of hardware most appropriate to satisfy the needs. For example, in a supermarket, a special computerized device called a point-of-sale (POS) terminal is most suitable to record transactions. H. Other considerations. Other considerations for selecting computer hardware are H.1. Monitor. Depending on preference, your choice for a monitor may depend on size, resolution, and the technology used to make it. Currently, flat panel displays have become a new market standard quickly, replacing the cathode ray tube CRT. H.2. Multimedia capability. This is the combination of video, audio, text, and images to provide an interactive, creative, and effective way of producing and communicating information. A multimedia system should have speakers, CD, DVD drive, sound card, and a SVGA monitor. It should also have software that supports multimedia capability. 3. Evaluating software requirements that will meet the user's needs. The computer hardware and software to be acquired should therefore be able to meet all needs of the data processing environment that they are intended for, effectively. Although one may have a good computer with the best hardware, the actual real determinant of a computer's value to the user is the software in it that can run to solve the day-to-day data and information processing needs. The following factors should be considered when selecting software. A. Authenticity. The term authenticity refers to genuineness, validity, and/or legitimacy of an item. When you acquire software from the vendor, make sure it is an original copy that is accompanied by the developer's license and certificate of authenticity. This is because some people illegally produce pirated copies, which is an offense. B. Documentation. It refers to the manuals prepared by the developer, having details on how to install, use, and maintain the software. These include installation guide, maintenance guide, and a user guide. This documentation enables the user to work with the software, with minimum guidance. C. User needs. The needs of the user determines the type of operating system and application programs that should be considered for acquisition. For example, if the user needs to type documents, most often he/she would go for a word processor. People with special disabilities will require software that recognizes other forms of input like voice and natural sound. A good example is software used in mobile phones to store voice and allow the user to make a call by just calling a name instead of keying in the number. D. Reliability and security. People are more comfortable with software that offers good security to confidential and private information. E. User-friendliness. One of the most important features normally considered when using a computer program is its user-friendliness. This is a measure of how easily the users can be able to operate the computer. Some programs are more user-friendlier than others. A lot of research and effort has been dedicated to trying to come up with more user-friendly software. The ease of use of a program will most likely influence whether the user will prefer it or not. F. Cost. The cost of software is perhaps one of the most controversial issues that must be considered carefully. One cannot just go for software because it is cheap. Many other factors may force a person to buy far much more expensive software even with cheaper alternatives available. However, it is illogical to buy expensive software if there is a reliable, cheaper alternative that will meet one's needs. In case the off-the-shelf software does not fit the needs of the users, it would be advisable to develop in-house software solutions. 7. Though they may be a bit more expensive. G. Compatibility and system configuration. Software compatibility refers to the ability of the computer to run the software, depending on the system setup configuration. For example, some software may only run on a computer that has 32 MB of RAM and above. Any computer with lower than this will be said to be incompatible. It is important that one reads the installation guide and system requirements that comes with the software in order to avoid disappointment. H. Portability. Portability in this aspect refers to whether a program can be copied or installed in more than one computer. Although most software in the market today are portable, some developers produce software which can be installed on one machine only. This means that if one has 20 computers, one should buy a license for each.